Hello all, welcome to training with Mr. Bose. So again we have done the Excel part 1 series. If you haven't watched, you can check that video. Today we will discuss about the exercise 2, which is the Excel series part 2. The part 1 was basically based on index and match function. This exercise will be basically based on Excel functions where we can use COUNTIF and SUMIF functions. So let's join this exercise 2. So if you see this exercise 2, we have a table which is given over here where you have the date, driver's name, item, number of items, transport and destination, right? So this is the data which is given, and below data you have certain questions, right? So there are certain analysis areas which you need to find out their results, right? So number of orders in Boston, right? So you already have the Boston over here. Now you need to find out how many orders came from Boston. So in Excel, there is a function which can be used to calculate this, right? So you don't need to go and filter every time and check Boston and then select the rows and check the count, right? Instead of that, you can use a particular function called as COUNTIF, right? So what we will do is we will quickly create this lookup value. So Boston is one value. Similarly, microwave. Why I am doing this, you will be able to understand. Truck, Peter White, right? So and the last one is not required, we have to do it directly. So what we are going to do is we are going to use a function called as COUNTIF, right? We will select the range. The range is for Boston, how many orders are coming from Boston. So we are selecting the destination and we will give this as Boston, right? So this is the first, and there are 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 Boston. So the answer is coming correct for Boston first. Second, for microwave. So again we will use COUNTIF because they have asked you number of microwave orders. When they ask you number, that means they are asking you count, right? So you have to use COUNTIF range. Now microwave is an item, so we will select the item range, fix this, and just we will select this microwave. So that's why it is easy. That's why I have written microwave Boston truck 3 over here. Why? Otherwise you have to write that in inverted comma. So I will show you that also. Equals to COUNTIF. Suppose if the truck 3 is not written, if you haven't written this truck 3, so what we will do, you will select the transport range over here, comma, and instead of selecting this, what you can do is you can directly write truck space 3, exactly the same spelling, right? So the question was number of journeys with truck 3. So that means they are asking me how many count of journeys happened through truck 3, right? So there are 8, right? And number of Peter White journeys. So equals to COUNTIF, right? The range is driver's name, comma, or instead of comma you can fix this first and then you can give a comma, fix this C2 also by pressing F4, and the criteria is Peter White, right? Now in certain scenarios, if you don't write this, the spelling can make mistakes and you won't get the correct answer. So it's better to write that values which you are looking for or for which the criteria is, then it will be easy for you to do those, right? The last one is how many times are number of items less than 20, right? Number of items less than 20, right? So equals to COUNTIF. So that is a condition which is provided as a criteria. So number of items less than 20, right? So I will go to number of items, fix this range, comma, it should be less than 20, right? So in the criteria, I will write it as less than 20. So this is the criteria. So there are 9 items which are less than 20. I hope this is the first part of the analysis. Next we go to the second part where they have asked you sum of refrigerator items. So they are already telling you have to do the sum, right? And sum of what? Refrigerator, right? So again, I will write it over here, refrigerator, right? Washing machine, right? Transported by truck 4, right? And transported by trucks, right? So here if you see the transport, there are truck 1, 2, 3, 4. How you are going to do that, I will tell you that. So let's try this. So equals to SUMIF. Now we are using SUMIF instead of COUNTIF because they are asking you the sum. The first one is range, then criteria, then sum range. Range is for the criteria range. So here we have refrigerator. So we will select the item range, fix this, comma, we'll give the refrigerator, comma, and the sum range is number of items. Done, bracket close, enter. So this is 105. Similarly, we have washing machine. We can easily drag this because it is coming for the same items only, and you can see that automatically it has become G37, right? Instead of G36, it has become G37. Both are from item section. So that's why I dragged it. Next, sum of items transported by truck 4. So equals to SUMIF. Range is truck transport range, fix this, comma, truck 4 is the criteria, and we need the number of sum of items. So you can check this. Later we will validate this. And finally we have sum of items transported by trucks. So that means all the trucks. So here if you see the data, it has gone scroll down. If you see the data, so you have truck 4, truck 3, truck 2 and truck 1. Other than that you have aeroplane, right? Airplane basically. So now what we will do is we will write equals to SUMIF. Okay. And we will write the range. The range is basically the transport range, but here we don't have trucks, right? But we have truck 1, 2, 3, 4. So every time we have to write those criteria. So range, comma, criteria. The first criteria we will give inverted comma, and we'll write the first criteria is truck 1, space 1. We'll give a comma and we will write the sum range. So this is, if you see here, the bracket is closed. I have closed the bracket. I will give a plus sign, and the next criteria again I will write SUMIF, the transport range, fix this, comma, criteria is truck 2 now, space 2, comma, sum range, you can directly write E2 to E25, bracket close, plus SUMIF, right, range, transport range, fix this, comma. Now the criteria is truck 3, space 3, comma, the sum range, you can select the sum range, E2 to E25, that's what I have selected, bracket close, and lastly the final is SUMIF range, criteria is truck 4, space 4, and the sum range is this number of items range. So this is how we have calculated for truck 1, 2, 3, 4, all the trucks, right? If you press enter, automatically you see this is calculated, 511. Okay. We will validate this, don't worry about that. Next is number of microwave orders in Boston. Now there are two criteria. One is microwave, one is Boston, right? So let us write this. So there are two criteria. So when there was one criteria, we were using COUNTIF. So when there are more than one criteria and more than one criteria range, then you have to use COUNTIFs or SUMIFs, right? So here you have to use COUNTIFs because there are more than one criteria. One is microwave, one is Boston, right? So equals to COUNTIFS, right? First it is asking me the criteria range. So microwave is the first criteria. So I will select the range, criteria range, fix this, and I will write this criteria 1 as microwave. Let me check the spelling correctly. WAVE it is. In question the spelling is wrong. Here it should be WAVE. Okay. So this is the first criteria. Then it is asking me the second criteria, criteria range 2, which is Boston, right? So this is Boston destination. We'll fix this and we'll write Boston, right? This is the criteria, and finally we will give a comma. So both the criterias are completed. One is microwave, one is Boston, and we are calculating the count, so no required to do any kind of anything else. Clicked on this and there are 2 only. Number of Peter White journeys with truck 1, the same process, equals to COUNTIFS. Criteria range is Peter White. Quickly I will select the driver name, fix this, comma, Peter White, check the spelling correctly, okay, comma, criteria range 2 is truck 1, fix this, comma. Without, if you want to do no mistakes, you can write it down previously, okay. Now the very important question, number of orders in Boston after 2/3/2013. Now here if you see the date, you won't find anything which is 2/3/2013. So that means you have to understand this, right? You have to understand that when the question is given, the month is the first, then day, then the year. But in the data, the day, month and year, that is how the data is formed, right? So that means what you have to do is you have to write like this. So it should be 3/2/2013. This is how the date is, right? So you have to understand this because already there is no date over there on that. So 3/2/2013 is there, but 2/3/2013 is not there. So you have to understand that and you have to change it according to it. So what we will do is, so number of orders in Boston after 3/2/2013, right? Number of orders in Boston after 3/2/2013. So equals to COUNTIF, right? Range. We will select the date range. Fix this, comma. After means greater than 3/2/2013, right? That is what we are going to do. Fix this. So there are 0 orders it is coming. So after 3/2 there are a lot of orders, right? So let me type it instead of writing it. If I check the exact, it is 3/2/2013. Yes. So let us type it instead of selecting it. Greater than three 2/2013. There are 17 orders, right? Don't type, basically select it, try to write it because it's a date. That's why it is preferred to type, right? So 17 orders, we will validate that. Similarly, a number of orders between 3/2/2013 and 6/2/2013, right? So COUNTIF or COUNTIFS we have to use because there are 2 criterias now. Number of orders between 3/2/2013. So I will select the date, fix this, comma. First criteria is it should be less than, right? Sorry, it should be greater than or equals to 3/2/2013. So you can write it greater than or equals to, you can write as this 3 2 2013. This is the first criteria. Second criteria is criteria range 2 and criteria. So again, this, fix this, comma, criteria range 2, it should be less than, right, less than 6 to 2013. Bracket close, enter. So there are 13 orders which is coming out from there. Okay, so we'll validate this at the end. Sum of microwaves transported to New York. Okay, transported microwaves and New York, there are two criteria. So SUMIFS, so equals to SUMIFS. When there are two criteria, more than one criteria, you have to use IFS, SUMIFS, right? First is the sum range. See the parameters properly. First is the sum range, then criteria range and criterias, right? Sum range. So sum of microwaves transported to New York. So we will first select the sum range, fix this, comma. Criteria range is microwaves. Fix the range first, and then we will type it as microwaves. Microwave. Spelling should be exactly same in the data, right? Comma. Criteria range 2 is New York. So we will select destination, fix the range, and comma NY, right? It is coming to 0. Let me validate this, why it is 0. So microwave, let us filter this microwave. And New York, right? It should be 25. There might be some mistakes. Let me check New York and microwave spelling. Microwave. Okay, the spelling is wrong. That's why microwave and New York. So it is 25. Now it is correct. Only check the spellings that is basically required in this particular functions, and you will get it. Okay. So sum of items transported to Pittsburgh by truck 1. Again, SUMIFS, right? Sum range. Fix this. Now it is criteria range. So Pittsburgh is the first. So select this, comma, Pittsburgh. Spelling, you can check it, PITTS BURGH. PITTS BURGH, Pittsburgh. Yes. And criteria 2 is the truck 1. So I'll select the transport range, comma, criteria is truck 1. Finish, done. So sum of items ordered between, again the date formatting is different, 3/2/2013 and 6/2/2013, right? So equals to SUMIFS, sum range, number of items ordered, right? Fix this, comma, criteria range, we'll select the date, fix this, comma, should be greater than, or no, it should be ordered between, so it should be again greater than equals to 3/2/2013. So this is the first criteria. The second criteria should be less than 6/2/2013, right? So criteria is same only, comma, the criteria 2 will be less than 6/2/2013. 2013. Less than equals to, you can also write less than equals to, or less than 7/2 you can write, because till 6 you have to consider. So 7/2/2013, bracket close, enter. Right. Similarly, this one also, it should be less than 7/2, right, because till 6 you have to consider. Okay, so this is done. Now the last question was sum of items transported to New York, Baltimore and Philadelphia. So there are three criterias over here, right? One is New York, Baltimore and Philadelphia. So equals to sum of items transported, right? So SUMIF, we can use SUMIF only. You can ask me why. Well, there are three criteria, we can add it. So SUMIF range is this. This is not the sum range, because in SUMIF you will have the range first. In SUMIFS you will have the sum range first, right? So SUMIF is the range, criteria is New York, NY, and the sum range is this. This is done, plus the same formula again for Baltimore, right? Select the destination, fixed it, comma, criteria. Criteria is Baltimore. The spelling is correct as per the question, right? And the sum range, will select it as this, right? Fix this, plus SUMIF, the last one is Philadelphia, range fix it, criteria, spelling should be exactly same, Philadelphia, right? And the sum range is this, fix this, done. So around 386, right? So quickly we will validate the dates basically, because that is important. Trucks and all you can validate by yourself. The dates, number of orders in Boston after 3/2/2013. So there are 17 orders, that is basically, so greater than 3/2/2013, right? So what we can do is we can filter date filters, or we can just after, right? And we can write it as 3/2/2013. So how many are there? We can count this. So there are 17 count is coming over here. You can see this. So that means the answer is correct. Similarly for this, from 3/2/2013 to 6/2/2013, you can validate, that will be 14, and the rest part is exactly correct. Okay, so this is how we completed exercise 1. Let's go to exercise 2 quickly. The same thing again. There are certain questions: how many times total price, how many cash, how many credit cards, total price by cash. Quickly we can do this. There is a table which is given. So what we need to do is we need to create the formulas. I'll just zoom in for everyone. So this is the table where you have the date, service, stylist name, payment and price. So what we are going to do is we have to fill this with the functions and formulas. So if you see, the service is given, how many times total, and these are all things which are already given to you. So quickly we can write it. So equals to COUNTIF range is the service range. We will select now, fix this, and the service, right? So if I enter this, you can select all, and this is done, right? Similarly, total price. So you can write it as SUMIF, right? Range, you already know we need the service range. Fix this, comma, service is the criteria, comma, and we have to put the sum range. Now they want the total price, so we will take the price, fix it, and done. So total price is calculated. We can just drag it and it is finished. Okay, now they are asking you some other things. How many times by cash, right? So there are two criterias, right? Again, one is the service, one is the cash, right? So you can select all, and then by pressing control you can write equals to, okay, not the first one, you can press control, not control, or I guess shift, yes, equals to how many times by cash. So COUNTIFS, IFS, right? Criteria range is service, first of all, that is the first criteria. Fix this, comma, criteria is this, comma, criteria range 2 will be cash or credit. So the payment is the criteria 2. Fix this and we'll write it as cash. Check the spelling, it is in small letters, cash. So this is done, right? How many times by credit card? So you can just drag this, instead of cash you can write credit card, other things remain as it is. So credit card, let me check the spelling. Yes, credit card spelling is correct. Okay, B2, it has moved to B2, it should be A2 only. This service should be fixed, so A column should be fixed, so we can fix this A column. Okay, you can press F4, F4, F4. So A column is fixed, 2 is not fixed. Now it will come, yes, clear. And total price by cash, right? So same process, equals to SUMIF. Why they have equal SUMIFS, basically total price. So one is the sum range, so I will calculate the price range first. Fix this. So this is the total price, comma, criteria is first is the service criteria. I will select the service criteria, fix it, comma, criteria is this, comma, the second criteria is by cash. So I will go to the payment section, payment column, F4 to fix that, comma, and by cash, enter. So this we got all the answers, just drag it and you will get all the answers. So this should be the answer for the first table. The second table, we will come to the second table also. Now there the criteria is different. Now it's the stylist name and how many totals, how many times total they have done that, total price, how many times shaving, how many times kid, right? How many times kids? What is this question? Kids, yes. So we have kids, right? Okay. So let's try this quickly. So equals to how many times? How many times, right? So it's a count, right? So count if will work. The range is the stylist range. Fix this, comma, criteria is this. So how many times Jane has performed? 25 times, right? So that is how total price. So we'll use SUMIF. First is the range, similarly stylist range, we will select this, fix this, comma, criteria is Jane, comma, the price, so they want the price, so I will select this, fix this, and done. So total price is also calculated. Similarly, how many times shaving? So there are two criterias now, right? So equals to COUNTIFS, right? Criteria first is the stylist name, so I will select the stylist name first, fix this, comma, the stylist criteria is this, comma, next is, so A, again the A column I will fix it, so F4, let me go over here, F4, F4, F4. So now see, A is a dollar and 9 is not dollar, which is correct. Next criteria is shaving or not. So I will select the service. Fix this, right? And the criteria is shaving. SHAVING, shaving. Done. 7 times, 8 times, 5 times. Now when it comes to kids, you can see kids is over here, right, in service. So how many times kids? So equals to count ifs, 2 criteria. One is the stylist, another one is the kids. So first we will go to the stylist, F4, and this is the stylist criteria, comma. Now is the kids, which is basically what? The service. Is service having the kids? Yes. So kids is in the service only. So fix this, comma. The criteria 2 will be kids, KIDS. Done. So we are getting this, each of them 1 times. Okay, finally the sum of price for shaving between a certain range 10/5/2013 and 25/2013, right? That is how you have to find it out. Now there are multiple criterias over here. So equals to SUMIFS, sum range is the price. Quickly we will select this, F4, comma. Criteria range 1, which is the stylist name. Select this, F4, comma, criteria, right, comma. Next is the criteria range 2. So what they have given, date. The date should be 10/5/2013. It should be between 10/5/2013 and 25/2013. So I will select the date range, fix this, comma. Criteria should be greater than equals to 10/5/2013. This is the first criteria, comma. Again I will select the date range, fix this, comma. Criteria should be less than 11/5/2013, right? Then only it will be till 10, sorry, it should be 21/5, not 11. Then only it will be come to 20, right? So this is done. Enter, complete. So we have completed both the exercise 1 and exercise 2. You can validate the answers. I hope you have learned how COUNTIF and SUMIF and COUNTIFS and SUMIFS with condition works. This is a very practical example that comes